You're sitting in a shelter right now. No power, no store, maybe no clean water, and in your hand is a single empty tin can. Most people would toss it. The person who survives doesn't. Before we get into this, I want you to understand something. Almost every primitive survival tool ever invented, a stove, a lantern, a water filter, a trap, a signal mirror, a cooking pot, has been replicated using nothing but a tin can. Not by preppers with $5,000 kits. By regular people in real emergencies. Soldiers in World War II, bushcrafters in the wilderness, families during blackouts, people who had nothing and turned a piece of trash into the thing that got them through the night. So today, I'm going to show you not one, not two, but 12 legitimate, proven uses for a single tin can. Things you can build or do right now. No special tools, no money, no experience required. And I'm going to show you the exact technique for each one, because vague survival advice gets people killed. Specific survival knowledge keeps them alive. Let's get into it. Most people skip the prep and then wonder why their builds don't work. The prep is everything. First, choose the right can. Standard steel soup or vegetable cans are ideal. Avoid aluminum cans. They're thin, they melt near flame, and they're harder to punch and bend. A tuna can, a soup can, a coffee can. These are your three main formats, and each one has its own best uses. I'll tell you which one to use for each build as we go. Second, clean it completely. Rinse it out. Remove the label, and if you have any way to boil water, boil the can for 5 minutes. This sterilizes it and removes any residual lining chemicals from the interior coating. If you're in a survival situation with no water to spare, at least burn it over a flame for 60 seconds, rotating it to char any residue. That residue burns off, and the can is now food safe. Third, edge management. The top rim of a cut-open can is a razor. Fold the edge inward using a rock and a flat piece of wood as a press. Or if you have pliers, roll the edge with the tip of the plier jaws. Spend 2 minutes on this. A cut hand in a survival situation isn't just painful, it's an infection risk, and infections in the field can turn fatal within days. Now your can is ready. Let's build. This is probably the single most useful thing you will ever build from a tin can, and it works on physics, not luck. You need one large can, coffee can size, one medium can, soup can size, a sharp rock or nail for punching holes, and dry fuel, twigs, bark, anything combustible. Here's how it works. You're creating a J-shaped air channel. Cold air comes in from the bottom, feeds the flame, hot air and flame exit upward toward your cooking surface. The concentrated draft means you burn a fraction of the fuel for the same heat output. This is not a campfire. This is an efficient combustion system. Step 1. Place the small soup can inside the large coffee can to use as a template. Trace its opening on the side of the large can near the bottom. Punch around that circle using a nail, rock point, or the tip of a key. Work around the circle until you can push the shape through. This is your fuel inlet and air intake. Step 2. Cut or punch a series of small holes in the bottom of the large can. About 8 to 10 holes around the perimeter. These are secondary air vents. More oxygen means cleaner, hotter burn. Step 3. Fill the gap between the inner and outer can with dirt, sand, or ash. This acts as insulation, focusing all the heat upward. If you're working with one large can only, skip this step. The single can version still works, just runs slightly hotter on the exterior. Step 4. Feed small diameter fuel. Pencil-thick sticks are ideal, horizontally through the side hole. Light from the inside using a match, lighter, or friction fire ember. Feed fuel in slowly as it burns. You will see the flame draw inward and shoot upward. Place your pot or cup directly on top. Result, a stove that boils water in under 4 minutes, burns for 30 minutes on a small bundle of sticks, and produces almost no smoke because the combustion is so complete. This is the same principle used in commercial rocket stoves that cost $80. Yours costs nothing. When darkness hits in a survival situation, the psychological impact is severe. Light is morale. Light is safety. You need one medium can, a nail, a hammer or rock, and any fat, animal fat, petroleum jelly, even butter, plus a small piece of cotton from a shirt, bandage, or cotton ball for a wick. Step 1. Fill the can with water and freeze it, or pack it tightly with wet sand. This prevents the metal from deforming as you punch your design. Then use a nail and rock to punch a pattern of holes into the sides of the can. The holes let light escape in patterns, and the design actually helps diffuse the light further than a bare flame would. Step 2. Once punched, empty the can, dry it, add your fat fuel, fill it about 1/3 full. Thread your cotton wick so one end sits in the fat and the other pokes up about 1 centimeter above the rim. Step 3. Light the wick. The fat liquefies from the flame's heat and feeds the wick by capillary action. This is the exact same mechanism as a candle. The only difference is the container. 1 tablespoon of animal fat will burn for approximately 45 minutes. A tuna can filled with petroleum jelly and a cotton ball wick will burn for up to 3 hours. For outdoor use, punch a hole near the top rim on two opposite sides, thread a wire or shoelace through both, and you have a hanging lantern you can suspend from a branch. Let me be extremely clear on this before I explain the build. This is a sediment and particulate filter. It removes dirt, debris, insects, and large particles. It does not remove bacteria, viruses, or chemical contaminants. After filtering, you must still boil or chemically treat your water. Now, with that understood, here's the build. You need one large can with both ends removed or with the bottom still intact and punched with holes, and your layered filter media. Step 1. Remove or punch holes in the bottom of your large can. These are your drainage holes. Step 2. Layer your filter media from bottom to top in this order. Fine cloth or bandana first, then 2 inches of fine sand or pulverized charcoal from your fire, then 2 inches of coarser sand or gravel, then another cloth layer on top to act as a pre-filter catching large chunks. Step 3. Pour water slowly through the top. Let it drip through into a second collection can or container below. The water that comes out will be visually clear. Now boil it. If you have charcoal from a hardwood fire, not lighter fluid charcoal but actual burned wood charcoal, crush it fine and use it for your middle layer. Hardwood charcoal has real, meaningful filtration properties. This is not folk myth. It's why water filters use activated carbon to this day. Small game is your most realistic food source in a survival situation. Birds and small rodents are everywhere, even in urban environments after a disaster. This is the tin can deadfall trap, one of the simplest and most effective primitive traps ever used. You need a can, a small stick about 4 inches long, a trigger stick about 8 inches long, a bait stick, cordage, or a strip of cloth, and a flat rock or heavy piece of wood for the deadfall weight. The mechanism: the can is tilted on the trigger stick, bait is placed under the can. When the animal reaches for the bait, it disturbs the trigger, the can drops, and the animal is trapped underneath. Not killed, just contained. Step 1. Prop the open end of the can facing down at a 45-degree angle using your trigger stick assembly. The trigger stick sits under the rim. Step 2. Place bait inside the can. Seeds, crumbs, berries, whatever you have. Step 3. Run your cordage from the trigger to a stake driven into the ground several feet away. When the trigger is disturbed, the tension releases and the can drops. Step 4. Check every 30 minutes. A trapped animal under a tin can will exhaust itself quickly in heat, so frequency of checking matters. For birds specifically, grain scattered around and under the can dramatically increases catch rate. No phone, no GPS. You need to know which direction you're walking. You need a can, a needle or thin piece of steel wire, a leaf or piece of bark, and water. Step 1. Magnetize your needle. Stroke it in one direction along the can's steel side 40 to 50 times. The magnetic field in the can's steel wall will partially magnetize your needle. Step 2. Place the needle on a flat piece of bark, a leaf, or a thin slice of foam if you have it. The float material needs to be light enough to rotate freely on water. Step 3. Place your float with the needle on still water in a shallow container. Your second tin can works perfectly here. Step 4. The needle will rotate and settle pointing north-south. In the northern hemisphere, the end you stroked first points north. Mark it. This is a real, functional, magnetic compass. Less accurate than a $10 compass, but directionally reliable enough to keep you moving in a consistent direction rather than walking in circles, which is what most lost people do.